Hey guys, we are on episode 5 of the Recession Project. Today I'm pretty much doing a Q&A. I went over to my Instagram page a few weeks ago and put up one of those questions asking you what your questions are relating to budgeting, and I thought I would just do a bit of a Q&A on this episode and share some of my tips and answers with you. I'm no expert, I'm a stay-at-home mum. These are just things that I think work in our life and lifestyle, and they may work and apply for you. So if you're interested to see what my answers, if you're interested to see what the questions are and what the answers are, so I'm going to get straight into the questions. Alright, so question number 1 is, how do you stick to a budget? I guess when it comes to budgeting, you need to find out what your why is. I think that applies to a lot of things. You need to have the motivation and why to be there. So when you look at budgeting and how to stick to a budget, you have to have a reason behind it. And that could be that you're paying off a mortgage, that you have got some personal loans that you're trying to pay down because there is a lot of interest behind it. You are saving to go on a holiday, or you're just trying to improve your lifestyle by living within your means. But there really has to be a reason why behind it. Putting a budget in place that is really restricting for yourself and it's not going to make you enjoy yourself and be happy, you're not going to stick to it. It's kind of like dieting. You want to lose some weight, but you really like the sugar and you don't want to give up the sugar, and then you crave the sugar. It's the same with a budget. If you put 1, an unrealistic budget in place for yourself, and 2, don't have a good enough reason why behind it, you're not going to stick to it. Now, I know in episode 4, I think it is, I share with you my budget planner. It's a very basic overview. It's totally free. If you do want a copy, drop me a DM below and I can get some details from you and send it to you. But I'm actually working on version 2, which is a really, really detailed one. And what this one's going to actually focus on is what you want your budget to be, but what your current spendings actually are, and then how you can work down towards that budget from where you are currently spending to what you want to be sitting at. So to answer the question, I think you need to have a really strong enough why and why you are budgeting. For us, we want to budget so we can live a more comfortable lifestyle. So we've got the kids at home. I don't need to work full time and rush the kids off to daycare and have that juggling, balancing act. We want them to have their first 5 years at home before they go to school. Daycare for us was more of a social interaction for the kids to make friends, which they've done and is fantastic. But budgeting for us is really around giving us that flexibility. So this question here actually relates to food budgeting. So what is your motivation or goal for the decision of $150 of food? Is it affordability or saving money? So our budget is $150 a week for a family of 4 and 2 animals. We allocate $10 a week for meat that we get from a farm and buy in bulk, and then we have $140 a week for our groceries. Look, I've done a lot of research and I've seen other YouTubers say that you need a certain amount of money every week per person, per head, per month, and it gets really, really confusing. I keep things really, really simple. You need to work out what your income is, and then you need to work out the bills that you have to pay to be able to afford to live: your rent, your mortgage, your food, your water, your power. And from that, you have to determine what fits within your needs for your budget. So some people have food allergies, so their budgets can be a little bit higher sometimes. Some people have a very bland, simple diet. They might pare their budget back a little bit. We used to have a budget of $180 a week for a family of 4. Back then we had a toddler who was just starting to eat like pureed foods, or just going on to solids, I guess I should say. And I thought 180 was really good, but I just set myself a challenge to try and bring it down even further. So stay tuned for an upcoming video I've got on a grocery haul, and I share some really good tips on how to knock out $1 here and there to bring that grocery bill down and shop really smart with your groceries, not necessarily going to cheaper stores, just smarter on how you make purchases. Anyway, getting off topic there. So I don't really have anything that sort of allocates that 40% of our income should go to the mortgage and 25% should be going to food. I sit down and I work out what is important to us, and I think this new budget planner I've got is actually going to really help people on what they're actually spending and what they want their budget to do. It is a juggling act. I don't think there's any one answer to give you because everyone is so unique on their situations. Some people, for them, it's really important to pay down their personal debt. So for them, their food budget, they might want to get quite low and live a very basic food diet for a few months. It's one of the most costly expenses you'll see weekly, that and rent or mortgage, sometimes daycare. But it is one thing that you can influence as well. Okay, so I've got a question here relates to doing online shopping. It's killing me. I think this year in particular, it's been really hard because there is those lockdowns and isolation. People are shopping online, and stores now are asking you not to pay cash. If you can pay card, they prefer it just to hygiene reasons. I think it comes down to, one, a little bit of discipline. Two, it's a distraction. It is so easy to play on our phones, play games, scroll through, look at things. You get an email come through, there's a 20% off sale, you buy one, you get the second pair of price. So while you're there, you have a look, you click, and before you know it, you've got 10 things in your basket. But wait, if you spend an extra $10, you get free delivery. So then you go and spend another $15 and you've got free delivery. And before you know it, you've got a bunch of things turning up to your doorstep that you don't really need, but you take anyway. Maybe they don't really fit, but you can't be bothered returning them, and they sit in your wardrobe for 6 months and then you throw them out. I'm not the only one that's done it, I know. So I think a couple of things when it comes to online shopping is, and I think I have mentioned this in one of my other recession videos, maybe number 2, delete all subscriptions you have on your emails to furniture stores, clothing stores, discount stores, things that are your soft spot that you will go and gravitate towards to purchase things. Instead, find other things. If you are not addicted to your phone, but if you do use your phone, if your kids are having quiet time and you're trying to sit down and you're on your phone, try and find something else that will come through on your emails that might motivate you a bit more. And don't follow people on social media who, I've got a discount code, I've got this going, or they show lots of outfits or stylings, and it's your trigger point to want to go and do the same thing. For me, I used to be subscribed to every email you could for clothing, and they'd have a sale. I would go buy it. I never wore it, and I would throw bags and bags of clothing out, and it was a little bit silly. So strangely enough for me, I actually spend my time when I'm bored phone scrolling, I go into Pinterest, and at the moment we're looking at buying our next home, and I'm getting so many ideas from Pinterest. I'm not buying things. One, because I can't really do anything in this house. I'm waiting for us to buy our next home. But two, it's also giving me ideas of things to look out for when we do move. Things I like, things I don't like. I've found some new styling and decor techniques that I want to implement into our new home, and I'm finding it really, really fun. So I think that's the thing, is people get bored and they shop because it's feeling like a void. The other thing you can do is turn your phone off and read a book. Go to the library, they are free. Grab a book and read a book. You'll be surprised how many people actually stopped reading, and it's free to do. It's a good way to get through an afternoon if you have a bit of time up your sleeve. If you're having a lunch break at work, don't pick up the phone, pick up your book and have a read. So another question I've got here is, how do you budget when you don't have a steady weekly income? So I think this one may be relating to maybe you've got like, you're like a consultant maybe, or you have like an hourly rate, or you're a casual employee, so you don't have like a set income every week. What I would try and do is work out what your baseline would be. So say, for example, you might clear, these are just some figures here, you'd clear $200 a week, that's your bare minimum, and then above that you get like bonuses, overtime, extra clients. But $200 is like your take-home guaranteed every week. I'd be using that to base my budgeting off, and then anything on top of that I'd be putting towards like my luxuries and those sort of things. So saving for your holiday, maybe updating some appliances, paying for your internet and any pay TV you might have. But for that $200 a week, that would be my budgeting to pay for my food, rent. This is actually a really good one. Since COVID, I am struggling to budget due to the fluctuation in prices because things are hard to get hold of. You're not the only one, and I do think things are going to change even further. I have been watching the news with what is going on with some of the export restraints put on some of the Australian farmers. I know in regards to our cotton our wheat. There's a new one that came on just the other day in regards to crayfish. And I know there's been a bit of a battle with our beef that there is potential concerns about not having the exports take place. And the other thing we've got too in Queensland, Australia, we're about to go into horrific storm season, which means a lot of the crops do get damaged in North Queensland. So bananas, mangoes, they do get destroyed, which means prices do go up because people want them, but they don't have the supply there and the farmers are trying to recoup. And I stockpile very carefully. And I don't just mean when it comes to groceries I stockpiled. I done my children's Christmas shopping and was finished in September. Maybe even August. Let's just go with September for now, but it could have even been August. I think in the economy with what's going on now, you really have to plan and think ahead. And again, change your way of thinking. I've actually got a girlfriend and she upcycles furniture. So she will go onto Marketplace, Gumtree, and she will purchase free or really, really cheap old furniture and she'll repurpose it, repaint it and turn it into a new piece of furniture and sell it. She'll sell it at a fraction of the price as you would buy something brand new in the store. So I think people are going to start changing their way they actually do their shopping, not for like groceries, but for other items. So start looking secondhand, start looking at near new items, and maybe look at things around your home that you can repurpose into something else. Another great example is instead of just throwing out your rug, can you take it to a professional cleaner and get it clean so you can continue to reuse it? Rugs are not cheap, they do cost a lot of money, but to get them professionally cleaned is a fraction of the price of replacing your rug. I think we have definitely gotten into a lifestyle of it's cheap, it's disposable, I replace, where I think things are going to start to change, and I have definitely seen that in Australia, where we need to probably start paring back on it's cheap, it's disposable, more can I fix it, can I mend it, can I donate it? I am going to be doing a video in a few weeks from now. I'm actually making some Christmas skirts and I thought I would share some really basic skills with you when it comes to sewing. But I think even picking up some of those basic home economic skills about cooking, sewing, mending, fixing things. If you've got a deck that's broken, can you fix it? Don't just tear it down and replace it. So it's definitely been tough this year. And getting back to the question, budgeting hasn't gone out the window. You still need to have your budget in place. You still need to have a budget, because if you don't, your spendings can get out of control and then you're in debt. And debt for everyday items is not a good place to be. Debt paying off a car, paying off a home, which is a larger asset, has better value to it. Then I got into debt because I went to Kmart and bought 10 cushions and a bunch of clothes and toys and bean bags, and I never ended up using them and my credit card got maxed. There's definitely a difference there. There definitely have not been many sales this year. I usually purchase my kids' clothes in the opposite season. So right now we're going into summer. Usually what happens going into summer is all of the clothing stores reduce down their winter stock to clear it out to get ready for their summer stock. This year, I have not found any of those sales that usually happen this time of year. There's been nothing. So I know Target usually do an extra 50% off their winter stock. The best I have found is buy one pair, get the second pair half price, or they've just been reduced down by like $5 or $10. So I definitely am going to have to rethink how I purchase the kids' clothes come winter time, because what I would usually have in my cupboards right now would be pants and jumpers, socks, long sleeve tops that I literally got for like $2-3, which were normally $15 or $20. I don't have anything. So I might actually share this one as we go through it in the coming months on things that I would usually have stockpiled in my home that just weren't available this year and what we're going to do to get around it. So I don't know if I really answered that question. I think we're all in that one together in regards to the expenses have gotten quite high. And I don't think it's even that the cost has changed this year. It definitely has. I think there's also been an impact for those that have had hours cut at work or their partners lost their jobs. Their income has decreased, so they're being forced to change the way they spend their money as well. And look, it is hard. We are creatures of habit, but we need to change those habits when required. And I think this year, almost everyone has been required to change their habits in regards to how they spend their money. We have definitely, some of the items that we purchase that are usually always on sale or quite cost effective aren't anymore. We have also made some decisions this year to try and support more Australian businesses in clothing, in food, in furniture and the likes, which is more expensive, but we do it through saving up the money first instead of just going out to Kmart and buying the cheap bookshelf. We will save the money, we will go get a local person to make it, or we might go onto Marketplace, find something secondhand and repurpose it ourselves. Okay, this was quite a good one. I don't know how to budget, help. Okay, now keep in mind, I'm not a financial person. I'm not like a budget guru, but budgeting, I think again, so I think it comes back to you have to have a visual of your incoming and your outgoing. You need to see your income that you're getting, break it down weekly. If you get paid monthly, do your calculations, work out what your weekly pay is. It is much easier to budget from a Sunday to a Saturday than it is doing a Sunday times 4. It just becomes too complicated. So keep it really, really simple. Do week to week. And then you need to work out what your must-haves are. If I don't pay this bill, I'm going to incur interest on it. I need to pay that bill. If I don't buy myself food this week, I'm going to go hungry. I need to allocate some funds there. You need to prioritize what your spending needs to go towards. Pay the things that have an interest to them if you don't pay them. If you can't afford them, you need to look at other ways that you can consolidate your debts, how you can pay them down quicker. Can you shift banks? That is something that you're going to have to explore in that field. With the money you've got left over, you need to find out what you can divvy up to work for you. If you love sports and it's something that you watch every evening because you like to debrief and Foxtel means the world to you, and that's an important aspect of your budget, then you're probably going to keep that in your budget because that's really important to you. But potentially a gym membership might not be important, so you might just ditch that altogether. Or where you live, you might decide that you're not going to use the air conditioning in your home to save power over summer. Doesn't phase you in the least, so you just turn that off. You'll have cheaper electricity. And that applies for your food bill as well. Depending on where your needs and wants are and what you can afford is how you'll sort of set yourself up. I don't know if that really helps. But look guys, I might leave it there because I didn't want this video to be too long and I had a lot of questions that could just go on for hours and I don't want to do that, but I hope I picked out some of the key ones that really helped you around budgeting and might have given you some tips along the way. Any questions, pop over to my Instagram page and drop me a DM and we'll talk soon. Bye.